I found a new farmer's market today. It's called Richard's Produce. It's in Festus, Missouri. It's near where I get my nails done. I got my nails done for fall, and I stopped by, and the Roma tomatoes, it's the end of the season, so I got each one of these boxes for $14.50. I only needed one box, but I got carried away because it is the end of the season. She said they only had a couple left. So I want to make my own tomato sauce, ketchup. I want to make my own ketchup. And then if I definitely don't need it at all. If I can't get to processing the rest, which I'll just turn the rest into just tomato sauce, or maybe I'll make some more salsa because I do have jalapenos. Yeah, I'll probably make salsa because I have onions and jalapenos. I have everything I need for salsa. But if this is too many, I'll just freeze them until, because they got a couple bad spots on it. So I don't want to wait too long to process them. But that's the good thing about tomatoes. They freeze really well until you're ready to process them. I also bought this whole box of jalapenos. This was the last of the jalapenos, so he gave me a really good deal. I don't have the receipt in front of me, but I'm sure it wasn't more than the tomatoes. Most of them are going to be sliced and pickled. I went and got some big quart jars for that. And then some of them I'm going to dehydrate and make jalapeno powder. I've not done that before, but I was reading good things about it to use it as a spice. And so I am definitely going to try to make some jalapeno powder. So yes, we ran to Target. I have a couple. This is all I have left on empty jars. So will this be enough for all the jalapenos and tomatoes? Not for sure, but hopefully it will be. We'll see how many jars I need for these jalapenos and these tomatoes. All right, I did the math. So this recipe makes 8 quarts of ketchup, which is a lot. A quart is the bigger jar. That is a lot. I am not going to can it in quarts. I'm going to can it in pints because it's just me and my husband. And so it's kind of like a huge batch. So I weighed, got my little weigher, and I weighed it, and I estimated it was 132 aromas. And so her recipe is doing a half a bushel. This must be a half a bushel because I counted out 132 tomatoes. I threw away about 15 because they just had too many bad spots. A couple of them were just mushy. There's only 3 left. And I'm not bothered by the 15 I had to throw away. I know when I buy a case like this, it's the end of the season. I know there's going to be a little waste. I follow them on Facebook. It bothers a lot of people, but me personally, it doesn't bother me. I'm expecting that. I know that's going to happen. It's still a great price, and I'm still happy with the aromas that I am using. And so basically 1 box is enough for this ketchup recipe I'm going to try, and I will link the recipe down below. This isn't going to be a tutorial. This is like my before, middle, and after. But if you want to make your own ketchup, I will definitely link this recipe down below. It's from alanascooking.com, and there's a whole bunch of ketchup recipes out there. I just picked this one because I had all the ingredients. I like that it's, a name brand copycat. It looks good to me. This is my first time trying. It had a lot of nice reviews, so this is the one I'm willing to try. The only thing I find odd is the 8 quarts, and that's a big jar. Let me show you what a quart is. So if you're not familiar with canning, this is a quart jar. This is a big jar. So like a family of 4, this is good. And then the next one is the pint. This is what we use the most. This is what I call pickle size. And since this is perfect for a family of 2, and then the smaller jar I call jelly jars. These are half pint. And so I am going to can the ketchup in this size, this pint size. And then I did buy some more quarts, and I plan to can the jalapeno in those just because we eat jalapenos like crazy, and they won't go like bad in the fridge. I'm gonna shelf stable them, but once I open them, I'll eat that jar in a week. I've used this to can jalapenos before. This ketchup, I just feel like, for me, personal preference, I just feel like this is too big of a jar. A lot of people, like when they can tomato sauce or anything tomato, they do use these bigger jars, and I definitely recommend it if you're more than 2 people. But for just 2 people, This is my favorite size jar. I washed the tomatoes, I core them with a little strawberry holder, and then cut them in fours. There's already some in the pot. So I have it on a medium-low heat, and I don't add them all at once. I add about an inch of water at the bottom, and then I start adding the tomatoes. Through experience, I learned if you just put the tomatoes in all at once, it's hard to stir in the beginning. It's really important to stir a lot, especially in the beginning, so none of the tomatoes stick to the bottom. Once they start softening up, they won't really stick, but in the beginning they can scorch, and I've had it happen twice now, and so I'm going low and slow because I don't want scorched. It didn't, like the last two batches that I scorched, it didn't necessarily ruin it. I just had to pick out a couple blackened skins, and I don't want to have to worry about it this time. So this has softened up pretty good. I'll keep adding a couple cups fulls every 5 minutes until they're all in here, and just keep stirring it like every 5-10 minutes. And just cook it low and slow for about 3 hours. As you can see, I left the skins on because I do have a food mill, and once all of it's softened, it will really cook down where you can kind of skim the skins out. But what I'll do is I'll do a quick run through my food mill and then put the liquid back in here, and that way it'll separate majority, like 90% of the skin and seeds. It kind of misses some, but not enough that you notice. Some people will just leave the skin and the seeds and emulsion blended all together, but I just use my food mill. So there's more than one way to do it. 5 hours later, the ketchup is done. I'm starting to ladle it into the hot jars, and I will have to say this recipe is perfect. I followed it exactly. She was right. It definitely makes 8 quarts. This is a lot of ketchup, but it really does taste exactly like Heinz ketchup. I am so excited, but it is a lot. I will have ketchup for years, and everyone's getting ketchup for Christmas. I'm so happy with how it turned out, because if you watch my channel long enough, you know sometimes my recipes don't turn out. This recipe is perfect. I will link it down below. I think I already mentioned that. It's just been a long day. I'm a little tired. So I'm going to get the first batch in. I think I'm going to have to do like 2 canning batches, because I am doing the pint. It fits 8 in my water bath, and so I'll have to do 2 rounds. Good morning. It's the next day. All 16 jars of ketchup sealed, and I had made 5 quart jars of jalapenos. Those sealed. I still have 22 pounds of tomatoes to process. The jalapenos was 50 pounds. This is all I've processed so far. So I have about 45 pounds of jalapenos to process today. I got to run a couple errands, and then it's back to the grind of preserving the stuff I picked up yesterday. I might have bit off more than I can chew, but I will do the best I can. Get it? Canning. Can. It is 4 p.m. and I am now getting ready to start on these second box of tomatoes. It's way later than I wanted to get started, but today's Friday. We had a bunch of errands to run this morning, but I can't really wait another day. There's a lot of soft spots, so this is what I'm going to do next. Just wash them, quarter them, get them in the stock pot. Good morning. It is day 3 in me preserving the 50-pound box of jalapenos and 45 pounds of tomatoes. So the second box was 22 pounds, and I made 6, these are 6 pints and 1 half pint jar of tomato sauce. This is plain tomato sauce. There's nothing added besides the lemon juice to make it water bath canning safe. So I just cooked it down for like pretty much all day. I think it was like 6 hours. So it's pretty thick sauce. That's why it's only 6.5 jars. Like if you, earlier in the video when I made ketchup, it was 16 jars. But remember, the ketchup recipe, you add other ingredients and that bulks it up. This had no other ingredients. This is tomato sauce that I will eventually turn into spaghetti sauce, or add it to chili, or make pizza sauce, whatever I want. I'll worry about that later. And then I made 7 quart jars of the jalapeno slices, and my husband took about 50 of them and smoked them on the smoker. They're out in the garage finishing off on the dehydrator. I will show those at the end of the video. This is all I have left. I've already washed them. This is all I have left of the jalapenos. My plan is, they're pretty firm, so it's no rush. Today is Saturday, and I've been, you know, pretty much in the kitchen all day for the last 2 days. I kind of want to take a break today. It's Saturday. I got plans, so I'm not for sure. I'm thinking this afternoon I'll just slice them up and can the rest in quart jars, and then my water bath canner can fit 5 jars at a time, this size, the quart ones. So I think I'll do 5 more jars of the quart, and then any slices that are left over I will throw into the dehydrator. That's my plan. If you know anything about me, I change my plans constantly. It drives my husband crazy, but for now, that's what I'm gonna do. But right now I have to check my email, do business stuff because I do work from home, and then hopefully have free time to go have fun this afternoon. And like I said, they're pretty firm, so no rush. The tomatoes definitely had to be done because, like, I think, did I mention that, like, I ended up throwing like 20 of, from that second box, I ended up throwing like 20 of the tomatoes away because they had bad spots. And you can totally cut out the bad spots. And I did on a lot of them, but 20 of them, I just was like not in the mood to worry about it. It's too many bad spots for me. But so there was a little waste there. I was still happy with the box. It's just, the longer you wait on those, they would have just kept getting worse and worse. And I could have thrown them in the freezer, but I just wanted them done. So I still am very happy with the 6.5 jars of the tomato sauce. And yeah, let me go back to work, and then I will show you at the end everything preserved. I am done processing the tomatoes and jalapenos, so here is a quick summary. It took me 3 days to process all of the jalapenos and tomatoes, so it was 45 pounds of tomatoes and 50 pounds of jalapenos. Ended up with 16 pint jars of ketchup, 6 jars of tomato sauce. I wrote pasta sauce on this. I don't know why. I don't know. Had a brain moment. And so I wrote no spices on it so I would remember that it's just plain tomato sauce. And then, so it was 6 pint of the tomato sauce, and then 1/2 pint. And then I did take all of the skins that I had removed with my food mill and dehydrated that. So I have a practically full pint jar of tomato powder. And so for the jalapenos, I made 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 these huge quart jars of just pickled jalapenos. And then my husband smoked a whole bunch, and that ended up with 2 jars of smoked jalapenos. And then I dehydrated the rest. So this is a quart jar, and then this is just, I don't know, some glass jar from the Dollar Tree. And so I do plan on turning these 2 jars of dehydrated into jalapeno powder. I just haven't done it yet. I'll do, no hurry for that. With the smoked, it's just going to be used in cooking and stuff. Not for sure. I just was curious how it would turn out. It turned out great. And as you can see, this nice burn mark. So this is a boiling hot water splash. That's another reason I don't necessarily like working with these huge quart jars, because they really reach the max of my water bath canner right there. And so I got burnt. My own fault. I should have been a little more careful. But overall, I'm very happy with everything I got. Feel like it was definitely worth the value. And yeah, it was a hard 3 days. It was a lot of work. And I am so glad I have a dehydrator, because towards the end, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Just everything else is being dehydrated. But overall, very happy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.